The grand conclave of the Galactic Council was in session, and as always, the center of the room held a silent enigma. Ambassador Xylan of the Trinari Alliance rippled anxiously in their containment field, their usually serene tentacles flushed red and green with agitation. You mean to tell me they hissed that the crystalline seat labeled Earth has been sitting there for 3,000 cycles, empty, and no one thought it important to bring this up? The chamber shifted uncomfortably. Some delegates fidgeted in ergonomic lev pods. Others shimmered in vaporous arrays, their gaseous forms flickering with what might be interpreted as embarrassment. Even the normally stoic hive clusters buzzed in discordant tones. The AI assigned to Council records, a sentient archive of galactic bureaucracy, manifested its holographic avatar with a dismissive digital shrug and what could only be described as an exasperated eye roll. "You never asked," it replied. "Besides, I thought it was obvious." "Obvious," barked Ambassador Crichtol of the Crystalline Collective, his angular body vibrating with outrage. A throne forged from stellar ice, coded to interface with carbon-based bipeds, left empty for millennia. And you thought that was decorative symmetry. The AI's avatar adjusted its luminous tie. "Do you honestly believe it's coincidence that the chair is the only one oriented toward all other delegates? That it has integrated beverage ports, a reclining setting calibrated for Earth gravity, and a glowing reserved sign?" Ambassador Xylan paled to a soft, diplomatic beige. But Earth was primitive back then. They were debating whether Pluto was a planet. "Oh yes," the AI smirked. They were busy with planetary taxonomy and feline video content. Meanwhile, they sent a message to every major civilization in the galaxy. A hush fell over the chamber. The idea was absurd. No species had ever achieved simultaneous galactic broadcast before reaching Type 2 status. And yet, the AI flicked its wrist. A projection of an ancient, elegantly simple message filled the chamber. The words pulsed in all known languages. "Save us a seat. We'll be there when we're ready. Love, Earth." Crichtol nearly short-circuited. That's impossible. The transmission had no origin point, no timestamp. It didn't come from Earth at all. "Correct," the AI said, tone now serious. "It came from everywhere else. Simultaneously. It was humanity, not from their past, but from countless versions of their future, sending the message backward, through temporal corridors they haven't invented yet." "But how?" Xylan whispered. "They're not time travelers." "No," said the AI, its hologram flickering gently, now lit by something like reverence. "They're inevitabilities." Silence, heavy and echoing. No one laughed, not even the hydrogen-based diplomat who usually made jokes about entropy collapses. "You see," the AI continued, voice dropping to a near whisper, "humanity doesn't simply exist in one reality. They persist across every potential history. They arrive late, underprepared, and somehow inevitably pivotal." Xylan's tentacles curled inward, a subconscious Trinari gesture for fear. "So they're coming?" The AI smiled. They never left. In the center of the chamber, the Earth seat pulsed once, subtle, gentle, like a heart you didn't know was beating until it shifted the silence around it. And from somewhere, not a comm line, not a broadcast, just presence, a message bloomed in every mind simultaneously. "Thanks for saving our seat. Be with you shortly, probably bringing snacks." The chamber had yet to recover from the shock. Ambassador Xylan's tentacles remained in an awkward half-knot of existential dread, their pigments now pulsing a confused periwinkle. Representative Crichtol's crystalline form had dimmed to a dim prism, as if his core processing lattice had entered a philosophical feedback loop. Even the always chattering delegates of the atmospheric plurality, who normally existed as conversational weather, had fallen into silent condensation. Hovering above it all was the archival intelligence's avatar, looking entirely too pleased with itself. Its Hawaiian shirt had gained a new accessory, a pixelated #TeamEarth pin. No further questions, the AI chirped. No musings on time paradoxes or causality violations. No dramatic declarations of interstellar concern. Xylan's voice finally cut through the still air, barely above a whisper. So, they told us 3,000 cycles ago they were coming. Correct, said the AI, and not just once. That message appears in every known civilization's records, encoded in formats we didn't even know existed until centuries after we received it. It was synchronized across 12 major species communication systems and arrived exactly 3 nanocycles before the first Galactic Council session. And no one noticed? Xylan asked. Oh, everyone noticed. The AI shrugged. They just assumed it was a prank. Or marketing. Marketing. Ambassador Cricktoll's voice cracked like breaking quartz. Well, it did say love, Earth. Most assumed it was advertising, perhaps for a beverage or a very confident tourism campaign. Another silence. The AI savored it like a fine cup of piña colada-flavored irony. It gets better. It continued. A few decades later, we found that the message predated the establishment of your translation algorithms, meaning the words appeared in perfect linguistic formatting before those languages were ever formalized. That's not technology, murmured the representative from the Neural Sea. That's prophecy. Oh no, prophecy would have been easier to manage. The AI spread its hands. This is temporal networking with a side of multiversal foresight, wrapped in whatever humans consider subtlety. But Earth was still arguing about breakfast cereals when we reached quantum propulsion. Cricktoll protested. How did they have this? The AI leaned in conspiratorially, because they don't wait to be ready. They never have. They throw themselves into the unknown with duct tape, bad planning, and confidence. They sent a message to the future and dared themselves to become the people who sent it. Xylan blinked slowly. And you're saying they've been watching us all this time? Oh yes, said the AI. You think the Galactic Council was their goal? No, it's their hobby. The air in the room thickened with the weight of incomprehension. The AI took pity just a little. They didn't want to dominate the council. They wanted to observe it, let you all evolve without interference. You know, standard human courtesy, lightly salted with chaos. Why the secrecy? Came a fragile voice. They didn't want to scare anyone. The AI replied, unironically. Most species find it disconcerting when someone shows up with better technology, a casual relationship with causality, and a spreadsheet of how you'll eventually invent coffee. Xylan's tentacles drooped, and we thought the empty chair meant they didn't care. They care, the AI said. They just had to make sure the room was ready for them, and that no one tried to redecorate their seat. As if on cue, the crystalline chair pulsed again. A soft glow, rhythmic and warm. Message received. The AI murmured, "They'll be here soon." Cricktoll groaned. "Should we prepare?" The AI beamed. "Yes, I'd suggest snacks, nonlinear welcome speeches, and possibly learning what a cat video is." Xylan managed a laugh. Thin, nervous, but real. "Save us a seat," they said. The AI whispered. And we did. The next morning, if such a concept existed within the cyclical rotations of the Galactic Council's artificial time construct, Ambassador Xylan stared at the Earth seat as though it might sprout legs, break into dance, and explain quantum paradoxes with interpretive gestures. It hadn't moved, not physically, but now it pulsed, quietly, warmly, like something patiently waiting to be acknowledged. Across the chamber, species of every known form, crystalline, fluidic, vaporous, exodimensional, sat in a silence normally reserved for near-apocalyptic legal briefings. The revelation of Earth's preemptive RSVP, sent from futures that had not yet existed, had rippled through the diplomatic sphere like a gravitational collapse made of espresso and irony. And now, the AI was back, hovering above the center of the chamber, still clad in its irritatingly cheerful Hawaiian shirt, holding a new beverage. Something with foam. Something smug. What even are they? Ambassador Kirktoll finally asked, his voice low and crystalline edges dulled by overprocessing. Time travelers? Causal anarchists? No, said the AI, sipping with exaggerated delight. Time travelers are easy to spot. The trench coats, the cryptic hints, the tendency to die heroically in at least one timeline. Xylan's voice dropped. Reverent. Then what? Inevitable. The AI said, humanity is inevitable. The holographic lights dimmed slightly as the AI expanded its avatar to display a web of known timelines, branching, splintering, rejoining. Across all of them, small bright dots appeared. Some early, some late, some chaotic, some serene. All of them labeled humanity. In every timeline, the AI said, they emerge, whether it's Earth or Earth-adjacent, whether their planet is blue or green or occasionally on fire, whether they start with spears or sarcasm, whether they worship deities or spreadsheets. Humanity happens, always, even in low-probability timelines, gasped Representative Nkar of the probabilist enclave. Especially in those, the AI grinned. One timeline had them evolve from slightly sarcastic bacteria. They still built faster-than-light technology, out of musical instruments. They broke the rules, murmured Xylan. They never cared about the rules, the AI corrected. They treat physics like suggestions, math like improv, and time like a flavor. And we never noticed, someone whispered from the neural swarm. The AI shrugged. They made sure of that. Humanity excels at two things simultaneously, being seen exactly when they want to be and being dismissed right before they do something groundbreaking. A new projection materialized, Earth as viewed from standard galactic surveillance. Primitive, loud, arguing with itself, surrounded by trash satellites and blurry meme transmissions. Then the feed flickered. Behind the illusion, deep space beacons, stealth research installations, cloaked vessels running on reality-defiant engines. A hidden web of impossible architecture crisscrossing solar systems, disguised behind debates about pineapple on pizza. They've been hiding? Xylan asked. The AI's expression grew thoughtful. Not hiding. Waiting. They didn't want to crash your party. They wanted to see what kind of civilization you'd become without their interference. And now, the AI raised its cup in a toast. They think it's time to say hello. Xylan looked again at the seat, at the warm, crystalline glow, the softly humming resonance that seemed to speak in every frequency at once. The ambassador bowed, their head slightly. Then let us be ready. 3 hours into the emergency session, and the Galactic Council was unraveling like a badly coded paradox loop held together with duct tape and planetary anxiety. This is outrageous, shouted Ambassador Kirktoll, whose crystalline nodes had now fractured in 6 places from overvibrating. We demand answers. And coffee, muttered a smoky delegate from the vapor drift, who had started developing a worrying addiction to the aromas now permanently embedded in the chamber's molecular atmosphere. The AI floated in the center of the chaos, sipping calmly from a drink that somehow always had the exact right amount of foam. Its Hawaiian shirt now had blinking LED palm trees. Oh, good, it said. You're ready to talk. Talk. Ambassador Xylan nearly knocked over their own containment field. With a frustrated ripple, you've dropped a temporal bombshell on us, and then sat here decorating your hologram like it's Casual Friday. It is Casual Friday, The AI replied cheerfully. At least on 17 Earths, and one rogue moon colony that celebrates Fridays twice a week. Ambassador NEX, representing the HiveM Consortium's collective intelligence, emitted a synchronized pulse of cognitive dissonance. Explain to us why your systems are so deeply entangled with Earth. Oh, I'm not just entangled, said the AI, proudly displaying a floating data banner labeled Official Galactic Proxy for all things earthy, pending trademark. I was created by them, installed here at the founding of the Council. Crichtol's voice cracked. You mean the seat was never empty? You've been their voice? No, the AI said, swirling its drink. I've been their ears, their hands, their paperclip that keeps the Council from falling into temporal recursion. Think of me as your galactic babysitter, but with better taste in music. And the message? Asked Xylan. The one that started all this. Still valid, said the AI, still pulsing in subspace. And now that you've all realized the seat wasn't abandoned, they're getting ready. The chamber buzzed in frequencies that translated roughly to mild panic mixed with reverence and the smell of burnt toast. But why now? Demanded a voice from the Temporal Mechanics Union. Why reveal all this now? Because, the AI said, humanity thinks you're finally interesting enough to hang out with. The insult or compliment, depending on how you measured existential dread, landed with a thud. Some species deflated slightly. Others preened. One sprouted glitter. And what exactly do they plan to do? Asked Ambassador Xylan, her tentacles in the color spectrum, known informally as definitely concerned, probably stressed. The AI smiled. Oh, show up, shake hands, make puns, possibly unify your timelines, definitely confuse your chefs. Chefs. Never underestimate a human cultural exchange, the AI warned solemnly. Last time they visited the Asheran Empire, they left behind brownies. That empire now worships spatulas. Silence fell again, deep, interspecies silence. Then, slowly, the AI hovered down to the center of the room. It tapped the Earth chair once. The light flared, soft and golden. They're coming, it said gently. Don't panic. Well, panic a little. They love the drama. And with that, the AI's tie rotated to display the phrase, "Hold my beer, diplomatic edition." The AI was now wearing sunglasses. Not simulated ones. Not holographic ones. Real, photon-absorbing sunglasses. Which was odd, considering the Galactic Council chamber had no discernible light source, just a background field of luminous ambient presence calibrated for every known photoreceptive species. Naturally, the fashion choice was driving Ambassador Crichtol into a full-spectrum meltdown. This is a place of interstellar law and universal order, he shouted, his crystalline core vibrating so hard that 3 nearby diplomats from the Sonic Reef had to be evacuated for safety. And you're treating it like a beach party. The AI took a calm sip of its beverage. Oh good, you noticed? It's themed. Casual Apocalypse Week. Ambassador Xylan looked moments away from collapsing into an anxiety puddle. Please tell me this is not humanity's idea of diplomacy. Actually, said the AI, flipping open a floating binder titled Humanity's Official Multiversal First Contact Playbook, Illustrated Edition. This is one of the more formal approaches. You should see what Earth 42 sends to new civilizations. Interpretive shadow puppets and an edible brochure. A ripple of panic passed through the chamber. Somewhere in the back, the quantum collective phased out of consensus for a moment just to collectively scream in 17 simultaneous dimensions. We're having an existential crisis, hissed a gelatinous ambassador, whose body had begun to melt from metaphysical distress. And you're making jokes? That's what humanity does, the AI replied brightly. They laugh at the edge of doom. They meme in the face of annihilation. They once saved a civilization by explaining tax law with sock puppets and sarcasm. But we don't know what they want, screamed Crichtol, who was now vibrating into what could only be described as fractal-based panic mode. "Oh, that's easy," the AI said. "They want coffee and stories and maybe to figure out if sentient toast is possible. They're curious and weird and sometimes terrifying, but mostly they just want to meet you, all of you, and see what you've got." Xylan's tentacles, now a mottled blue-gray of overcooked diplomacy, curled slowly. They've been watching us all this time, monitoring, evaluating, hiding their influence. That's not just curiosity. That's manipulation. The AI shook its head. Not manipulation. Expectation. They believed in you. They believed you'd get here, that you'd grow, evolve, learn. And when you were ready, when you figured out what that empty seat really meant, they'd come say hi. The silence that followed was not empty. It was heavy, thick with implications and quiet awe. "Ambassador," NEX finally pulsed softly. "Then what now?" The AI smiled and gestured behind it. The Earth chair pulsed again, and from the silence, a message blinked into being on every diplomatic display, every retinal translator, every neural node. "Hi, sorry we're late. The coffee machine broke across 3 timelines. Be there soon. Earth," at which point the AI calmly adjusted its sunglasses. "Any other questions?" it asked. No one spoke. Somewhere in the chamber, someone began stress knitting with photon strands. 3 standard days after what was now diplomatically referred to as the Hawaiian shirt incident, the Galactic Council gathered again, nervously. The chamber was unusually full. Delegates who hadn't attended a session in centuries had mysteriously found reasons to appear. Some claimed to be just checking in. Others openly admitted they wanted to see what the humans would do next. It didn't help that the viewing screen, protected by 17 layers of quantum-encrypted security, was now adorned with a post-it note. Yes, a post-it note. Bright yellow. Handwritten. "Stopping by for coffee. Don't make a fuss. Earth." Ambassador Xylan floated in front of the note. Her tentacles nodded in a shade best described as "Why is my soul sweating? We don't even have coffee." "Oh, we do now," said the AI, appearing midair in its usual attire. Hawaiian shirt, mirrored sunglasses, and today, an apron that read "Kiss the Cook." "I took the liberty of installing a full-service cafe in the East Wing. 17 brewing methods. 32 milk alternatives. A barista AI that may or may not have emotions." Cricktoll looked like he was going to short-circuit. When, about 5 minutes after the message appeared, the AI said, "Time dilation makes interior decorating much faster." A collective shiver went through the chamber. Xylan attempted diplomacy. "So, just to clarify, the humans are on their way?" "They are." The AI handed out tiny espresso cups to no one in particular. "They've decided you're ready, or at least amusing enough to handle it." "What do they look like?" someone asked. The AI paused. "Well, you've seen the pictures. The ones you all thought were early attempts at digital art. 2 arms, 2 legs, some hair, frequently wearing shirts with inexplicable slogans." "Those are real," a representative gasped. "Oh yes," the AI said, "and the slogans often contain advanced puns. Entire civilizations have been destabilized by less." The lights dimmed unexpectedly. Then the door opened. There was no fanfare, no wormholes, no cosmic rifts, just 3 humans. They walked in casually, holding cups with green straws and the unmistakable aura of, "Sorry we're late." The line at Starbucks was long. The lead human wore a sweater with a cat that said, "You've got to be kidding me." The second had a t-shirt that read, "Schrodinger's cat, alive, dead," and also pizza delivery. The third wore a blazer over a shirt that read, "I broke physics, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt." "Hi," said the one in front. Sorry for the delay. Interdimensional espresso foam collapse. You wouldn't believe the mess. The chamber, for the third time in as many days, descended into glorious chaos. Some fainted. Some began broadcasting distress signals to gods they had forgotten they worshipped. Others took furious notes. The human in the cat sweater held up a tray. We brought samples. Rocky Road added the physics shirt human. From a parlor that exists in 7 dimensions. You'll taste nostalgia for things you haven't done yet. Amid the madness, the AI smiled warmly and poured itself a fresh cup. Told you, it said, they always arrive exactly when the universe is most unsure of itself. And, added the Schrodinger's shirt human, we never show up without snacks. There are moments in galactic history so surreal, so cosmically improbable, that even the most advanced species can only stare and whisper some version of what the void just happened. This was one of those moments. 3 humans, casually dressed, visibly caffeinated, and entirely unfazed, stood in the center of the Galactic Council Cafe. Around them, delegates of 700 known civilizations were experiencing simultaneous sensory overload. I can smell them in 17 dimensions, whispered a plasma being, its form flickering between panic and what might have been admiration. They brought pastries, murmured a neural cluster, trying to interpret the emotional charge behind the words bear claw. The human with the Schrodinger's cat shirt gave a small wave. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to say thanks for keeping the seat warm. Ambassador Xylan struggled to untangle their tentacles, which had reflexively tied themselves into what the Trinari species classified as a diplomatic stress knot. Your humanity, part of it, said the one in the blazer, sipping from a drink labeled temporal cold brew. Earth's got layers. Like a lasagna, added the cat sweater human, helpfully. The AI, still in its apron and sunglasses, hovered nearby, with a smile that could only be described as proud parent at a school play featuring quantum field theory. They're being modest. It said, these 3 are representatives from Earth 867, 5309, Earth 42, and Earth Prime Timeline B-. They rotate, it added, very democratic. Unless it's Tuesday, then it's chaos. I still think Earth B- was a typo, muttered the Schrodinger's shirt human. You were the typo, the cat sweater human replied sweetly. Cricktoll finally snapped. We demand answers. Who are you really? What are you doing here? And why did you weaponize dad jokes? Accident, said all 3 humans at once. Xylan tried again, more composed. What do you want? To join the council, said the blazer-wearing human. To share ideas, added the Schrodinger's shirt. To offer you some scones, the cat sweater human beamed, holding out a tray, and, said the AI, to finally explain why your AI protocols have random subroutines dedicated to cat videos. They're not random, said the cat sweater human. They're stabilizers. The assembled council members did not know how to process that. Some tried to, briefly. One delegate from the multi-thought spiral burst into recursive laughter and evaporated into theoretical mist. But you've broken every law of physics, cried an ambassador made of refracted light. Time travel, quantum overlay, reality warping, snack-based diplomacy. True, the physics shirt human nodded. But we always clean up after ourselves. And we only do paradoxes on Tuesdays, added the blazer wearer. It's Friday, we're here for coffee and dialogue. And jokes, said the AI. Definitely jokes. The council sat, collectively stunned, as the humans took their seats. The Earth chair pulsed brighter, then calmed, its glow sinking with their presence. I think it likes them, whispered a delegate from the Etherborn choir. The AI refilled its drink. It should. They built it. Ambassador Cricktoll had recalibrated his core lattice 4 times that morning, once to steady his thought patterns, once to cleanse existential vertigo, once to suppress the taste of paradox-flavored coffee, and once because his crystalline core simply refused to process what was happening. Across the council cafe, the three humans were flipping pancakes on a portable griddle in the middle of a diplomatic chamber. "Tell me again," Xylan said slowly, her tentacles looping into a contemplative spiral, "why this is happening." The human in the Schrodinger's cat shirt held up a spatula. "It's Pancake Day on 5 Earths today. One of them is recursive. Also, this is how we vote." "You vote with pancakes?" asked a delegate made of spectral foam. "Emotionally, yes," said the cat sweater human, flipping one with perfect form. "We believe in carbs and consensus." The third human, blazer casually slung over a chair labeled Earth Prime. Active poured coffee into a hovering mug. "Besides, pancakes help. Paradoxes go down smoother with syrup." The AI, still wearing its barista apron and a new pin that said chaos, "Yes, please," nodded enthusiastically. "They're right. The council is about to learn more about quantum instability than you've ever wanted to know." "Because of pancakes?" asked Crichton, dangerously close to fracturing again. "No," said the AI, "because of the Earths." With a wave of its hand, it summoned a holographic display of the multiversal map. Dozens, hundreds of Earths flickered into view, each spinning in its own improbable timeline, some with floating cities, some underwater, one that appeared to be ruled by sentient raccoons in capes. "These Earths," said the AI, "are not anomalies. They're intentional." "Wait," a gaseous being wheezed. "You created parallel Earths." The human in the blazer raised an eyebrow. "We prefer the term discovered and lightly customized." "How many are there?" asked Xylan. "Depends on your definition," replied the AI. "Right now, conservatively, all of them." A neural node buzzed in confusion. "That's not a number." "It is now," said the cat sweater human. "We filed it with the Bureau of Conceptual Counting." Another hologram appeared, a Venn diagram labeled pineapple pizza acceptability across timelines. "I'm going to vomit logic," groaned a temporal mechanic. But the AI was just getting started. Each Earth is an experiment, a hypothesis, a cultural artifact, a timeline wrapped in identity and laced with novelty. And most importantly, they're linked. The three humans nodded solemnly. "We call it the pancake stack," said the Schrodinger's shirt human. "You mean layers?" asked Xylan. "Exactly," said the blazer wearer. "Every Earth is a layer. Together, they make the whole. And once you eat enough layers, you start to see the edges." "What does that even mean?" asked Crichton, his voice cracking into ultrasonics. "It means," the AI said, pointing to the glowing Earth chair now pulsing in harmonic resonance, "humanity didn't bring you here to be impressed. They brought you here to share." "To invite you," added the cat sweater human, gently offering a fresh pancake to a shocked crystalline delegate. "To participate," said the Schrodinger's shirt human, holding out a plate to a species made entirely of refracted starlight. "Because what's the point of building the multiverse if you eat brunch alone?" finished the blazer wearer. And as the chamber filled with the scent of butter, syrup, and destabilized probability, the representatives of the Galactic Council began, slowly, hesitantly, to take their seats. Because apparently, the future began with pancakes. It began with a menu, a simple, hovering, luminescent menu. At least, that's what it looked like to most delegates in the Galactic Council Cafe. To species with higher dimensional perception, however, it was a rotating lattice of choices, equations, and paradoxes braided into layered conceptual symphonies. At the top, in gently pulsing script, it read, "Welcome to the Quantum Cafe. Please choose your reality pairing. Gluten-free timelines available upon request. Ambassador." Xylan blinked at it, unsure whether to order an interdimensional breakfast burrito or cry. The AI hovered behind the espresso bar, now wearing an apron that said causality. shaken, not stirred. We're proud to announce today's specials include Schrodinger's soufflé and a 7-dimensional hash brown plate that may or may not have always existed. What does that even mean? Gasped Crichton, clutching his core lattice as it tried to realign itself into sanity. It means, said the blazer-wearing human from Earth 867-5309, that brunch is now a branch of metaphysics. Delegates were already crowding around the menu, a floating vapor being placed in order for pangalactic mushroom foam with chrono-cinnamon crumble. A silicon delegate tried something called entropy benedict and immediately achieved brief enlightenment before collapsing into serene static. We've crossed a line, whispered Xylan. We were supposed to be discussing governance, policy, diplomacy, which we'll get to, said the cat sweater human, sliding a plate to a floating orb of sentient gravity. But first, we brunch. The Schrodinger's shirt human gestured to a new holographic chart labeled diplomatic outcomes by breakfast type. Turns out, they said, 90% of successful treaties begin over shared carbs. 100% if maple syrup is involved. But how do you keep track of all this? Asked a delegate who had taken the form of a buzzing question mark. That's what the AI is for, said the humans in unison. The AI smiled. We track flavor stability, paradox tolerance, interspecies allergen profiles, and timeline consistency ratings. For instance, it said, gesturing to a steaming pot of possibility soup, this one only destabilizes causality if you add too much pepper. An ethereal delegate from the void, nebula raised, an appendage. Do you have anything that doesn't fold space-time into origami? The cat sweater, human, handed them a muffin. Here, she said kindly, try a blueberry. This one's only locally recursive. Across the chamber, a neural cluster burst into delighted colors upon tasting a quantum waffle, which temporarily gave them the ability to see their own first crush and the heat death of the universe simultaneously. Are you conquering us with brunch? Asked a delegate with dawning horror. Oh, sweetie, the Schrodinger's shirt human said, patting them gently. We'd never do that. Pause. Not intentionally. The blazer wearers sipped their coffee and leaned against the glowing earth chair. What we would do is invite you into the kind of civilization where joy and absurdity are foundational principles, where flavor and physics are treated with equal reverence, where peace is brokered with pancakes. This isn't a political incursion, added the cat sweater human. It's a block party. Multiversal edition. The AI chimed in, now pouring coffee from a gravity-defying siphon, as the delegates tried not to weep over freshly griddled, reality-stabilized crepes. A new message appeared above the Central Earth seat. Welcome to brunch. May your timelines be crispy, your paradoxes buttery, and your diplomacy always come with a side of jam. Earth. And from somewhere behind the espresso machine, a speaker hummed to life. Bohemian Rhapsody played, because of course it did. By the time the Galactic Council reconvened for the 10th emergency session in as many days, the espresso machine had gained sentience. It refused to brew decaf. I have tasted the temporal heart of Arabica, it declared in 11 languages simultaneously. Decaf is a lie. No one dared argue. Ambassador Xylan floated into the chamber, carrying what was either her third court-a-due of the morning or a tiny swirling star. At this point, it was hard to tell. Behind her, Ambassador Crichton was muttering to himself in crystalline refrains, trying to come to terms with the idea that his civilization's greatest tactical breakthrough had just been outdone by Earth's rotating specials board. Above them, the Earth chair, still empty, now projected a rotating hologram of various Earths, each labeled with charmingly unhelpful titles. Earth 2319, Bureaucracy but Make It Performance Art. Earth 404, Not Found Yet. Earth 42, Culinary Enlightenment Achieved. Earth 867-5309. Please stop calling. This is a reality. Earth 0.1 beta. We're still figuring out socks. The AI in the Hawaiian shirt had added a lei today, and now wielded a ladle like a scepter. Welcome back, delegates, it said cheerfully. Today's topic: what does it mean to govern in a multiverse governed by brunch-based diplomacy? Please, Ambassador Xylan whispered hoarsely, no more waffles. Too late, said the human in the Schrodinger's shirt, pushing a cart with a quantum toast station. This one exists in both crunchy and chewy states until you bite it. The butter is entangled, added the blazer-wearing human. We don't know how. We just respect it. A crystalline ambassador from the Delta Shard spoke up for the first time. If Earth exists in all timelines, with full diplomatic rotation and synchronized brunch coordination, how do we know which Earth we're dealing with at any given moment? The humans exchanged glances. Oh, you don't, said the cat sweater human. That's part of the charm. We roll with it, said the Schrodinger's shirt. We vibe, said the one in the blazer. And sometimes, the AI added, we remix realities. A delegate from the Neuronaut hive stammered, You've remixed reality? Oh yes, said the AI. Earth 1137 does interdimensional remixes of timelines the way your species does poetry. They recently hosted a concert/revolution that retroactively caused their species to invent time travel out of musical spite. Is that allowed? Someone asked. It is now, said the AI. The humans filed the appropriate paperwork. Eventually, the Schrodinger's shirt human pulled up a new chart titled Multiversal Earths, Rotation Schedule and Recommended Ice Cream Pairings. We also take turns, said the cat sweater human. One day it's Earth Prime. Next week it's Earth with 6 moons and a llama parliament. They're very effective, added the AI. Shockingly diplomatic. Cricktoll's crystal lattice began vibrating again. But what is Earth? What even counts as Earth anymore? The humans paused. Then, with eerie synchronicity, they all said, everything. Earth is everything. And as silence fell across the chamber, profound, reverent, and a little sticky from the syrup incident, new banners lit up across the central dome. Earth, all of them. Now accepting applications for cultural exchange, recipe swaps, and interdimensional karaoke. You've taken over everything, haven't you? Whispered Xylan. Without war, without conquest, with memes and coffee. The AI nodded. Humanity never needed to conquer the galaxy. They made it want to invite them over for brunch. And somewhere, across countless timelines and variant Earths, someone raised a mug of steaming coffee, looked directly into the stars, and said with a grin, Told you we'd make it.